And now we're gonna watch the next competition, and that's girls 3 meter. We have 17 divers from different countries, different clubs from around the world. And each of the girls are gonna do 9 dives, so 9 rounds. And so 9 dives, and with 5 preliminary dives. So they have the limitation of a maximum of 2.0, that's the rule. And then the other 4 dives are free of, they can choose their own difficulty degree, so they can make the dive as hard as they want or as easy as they want. But if you want to win the competition, you probably go for as high as you want. And first up is Elma Galassen-Lund. She's going to start with a 1.5 forward pike. A little bit in front of the point of the board, so she didn't have maximum takeoff from the plank on the board, which causes her to move a little bit forward instead of upward. Here you can see in the replay she goes a little bit to the front, and that causes to lose her a little bit of control at the end of the dive. So with the entries a little bit sloppy, and you can see 5.5, 6.5. It's a decent score, but she, like with the prelims, with the compulsory dives, sorry, not prelims, but compulsory dives, you want to score at least 7, 7.5 to be in the race when the free difficulty degree dives are up. And now Lise van Leeuwen. She's going to do an inward 1.5 pike. Oh, so you can see a strong diver, a nice setup with this dive. Not too far, but not too close. With inward, you want to have safety first. And as you can see, nice setup, goes up, nice inner pike, real deep, and is out real early, but still has a little bit too much speed in her dive, so the entry is a little bit over, but still a good score for Lisa. Maria Vigne. Back dive pike. When she has a 4 movement on the board, she leans a bit backwards, and that causes her the whole dive to move away from the board instead of staying a bit close. And when you go far away from the board, it gets harder to control the dive, and the entry gets a bit sloppy. And on Sophie. Nice hurdle, good on the point of the board, so she has optimal usage of the board. And you can see the way that she takes off of the board is really high, so that's good. And that gives her the opportunity to at least finish the dive real good with a clean and nice entry. Yeah, good dive. Helle. Back dive piked. Also, she demonstrates control and power and height with her dive.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 7.
Nice 4 movements, stays in control, not too far away from the board, and a clean entry. Nice. Sylvia. Has a bit of trouble with her hurdle, and that causes her to move away from the board instead of going up and down. She goes up and to the front. Here you can see she leans a bit too much to forward, so her shoulders over her feet, and her shoulder is pointing her in the direction that she's going to with her whole body, and that's forward. 6.5, still decent score for Sylvia. 1.5 forward, Pike for Caroline.
5.5, 6.5, 6, 6, 6.5.
She has a good standing on the board,
Julia.
on the point of the board, but her arms don't go as high as she had to do it to give the direction towards she wants to dive, and that's up and not forward. Inward dive Pike by Julia.
7, 7.5, 7, 7.5. 30.
And then Dorothea Heis. Back dive Pike. She tries to have a great setup, but she fails to do that, and that causes her not to have enough rotation for that pike dive, and her legs fall back towards the water and comes up short. And then Maisie, same dive. Let's see if she can do a better job at this dive. She had a good start, more action in her lift of her leg to get in the pike position, which causes the rotations to be up to speed, but then she comes out too early and too fast, which causes her to come out to have a short entry as well. Serenske. She did a 1.5 forward pike.
5.5, 5, 5.5, 5, 5.5.
Has the hurdle step, the double bounce, the bouncing hurdle to get extra height. And there you see her coach, Joey van Etten, a Dutch national team member, active diver. And then Anna, 1.5 forward pike.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 6, 7.
Nice deep pike, that's good. Entry pretty clean. Maybe the way she comes towards the water is a bit sloppy, but still she has enough control to make a rip landing. That's good, a rip entry. And Dorka, back dive piked. Hey, nice setup, so nice height, touches her toes correctly, but doesn't have enough rotation to pull the dive nicely in the water without any splash. She comes up a bit short, so that's the short. It's a shame because her setup was really good. 5.5 for her, 5, 5.5. And then Letra. One and a half inward pike, really powerful, really fast. She's confident that she can make this dive, so that's good to see. A little bit to the back, so a bit away from the board. But the landing is good, the entry is good. And as you see, 6.5, 6, 7, so a good score for her. And then Ona, 1.5 forward, height. Is a bit careful with the setup, leans a bit forward so she goes away from the board, and as you can see here, she goes too far to the front instead of up and down. She goes up and to the front. Still 5, 5.5, so That's a decent score for her. And we are in round number 2. Number 1 is Aletra Neroni with 40 points. Number 2 from Holland, the Netherlands, Lise van Leeuwen, 36 points, so 4 points behind. And even closer, Helle Tux at number 3 with 0.75 behind Lise van Leeuwen. Elma does a 1.5 inward tight.
From all judges, 6.5.
And this is a nice dive. A little bit to the side, but we can see that from behind. The judges don't sit back at the back of the divers, they only sit at the side. So they don't see that as good as we saw that in the replay. But 6.5 for all the judges, that's good. Lise van Leeuwen, 1.5 forward, piked. Has a little bit of trouble with her hurdle. She leans a bit too much to the back, so it's hard for her to go from a leaning back position towards a leaning forward position to do the perfect dive. And as you can see, she also has a bit of trouble standing in the center of the board. But still, she's a strong diver, so she still have enough power and control to finish the dive correctly. So with 6s, it's a decent score, it's a good score for her. Maria, a reverse dive, height.
4.5, 4.5, 5, 6, 5.
Goes to the front. And because of that, she wants to overcompensate to get the rotation back. And with that, the next error comes and she goes over. So it's important that the hurdle is correct. So if the hurdle is correct, the next part of the dive will go correctly, and so on and so on. So Anne-Sophie, inward 1.5, piked. Nice setup by Anne-Sophie. Has a nice calmness to this dive towards her. Usually you see divers, they want to go real fast in the somersault, but she shows control, goes up, knows that the board will do the work for her, and she spins around in her somersault real nice and calm. And a nice entry, 6.5 for her.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to.
We saw Helle do a 1.5 forward pike. Does the double bounce hurdle that creates extra height to impress the judges as well. But also later on with the harder dives to create extra time and space to make the hard dives easier. Scores 7s for the 1.5 forward pike. Then Sylvia, back dive pike.
Five and a half, 6.5, 6, 6.
That's a reasonable setup. A short forward movement with the arms. A little bit too early when she comes out. She's maybe should have been more active. Yeah, she gives it with, shows it with her hand as well that she comes up a bit short. But actively more lifting up of the leg, or just hold the pike a little bit longer so you can dive the entry clean. Then Caroline Sophie. And that inward pike. Nice dive.
6.5, 6, 7, 7, 6.5.
A little bit to the back, but still has enough power in her movement with the arms to create the somersault speed, to create a good dive, a good entry. Julia, 1.5 forward, piked. Nice dive. Could have been a bit deeper in her somersault. It was a little bit big somersault. Maybe we can see that in the slow motion. A bit the front of the board that causes the board to push her to the front instead of up. And the somersault should have been a bit deeper. Still 6, 6.5, so she still got good scores for that. Dorothea. Reverse pike dive. It's a clean dive, but still when she touches her toes, she didn't actually touch her toes, so it's a little bit too short, not a real complete dive. As you can see here, she doesn't touch her toes. She almost comes to the shin instead of to the feet. Still gets a 6-7, so that's good. And Maisie, 1.5 forward with a full twist. This is important to see, to control the technique, because you got to do the somersault and the twisting in one dive. And with this you see that her core tension isn't strong enough. You can see that there's a wobble in her twist, and that causes her to lose control over the whole dive, and that causes at the end not to have good enough control to make a good entry. Erika. Oh, sorry, Renske. Does a back dive piked. Was a bit careful with her setup, with her takeoff.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 6, 6.
Touches her toes nicely though, so that's good. Entry could have been a bit cleaner, but still a nice. She didn't come up short. It was straight on her head, but the entry should have been a bit cleaner, so a little bit less splash. And then Anna, same dive. Also is looking for her. Also looking for her toes. A bit big Pike. You can see in slow motion, she didn't touch her toes. The judges saw that as well, and that's why 3 5s, 4 5s, and a 6. Yes, nice dive by Dorka. Reverse dive Pike. Has a nice calm hurdle. Goes up, nicely touching the toes, and the entry is perfect. Yeah, that's a great dive by Dorka. 7, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 7. Good score. And then Aletra, 1.5 forward, Pike. Yeah, what's nice to see of this diver is that she has a lot of power in her legs, so she creates a lot of height and uses that height as well. The double bounce hurdle. Yeah, that's nicely executed, and the landing is perfect. She had a great example to show her how to do the double bounce hurdle. Tanya Kyoto is one of the first girls who executed that correctly in a safe way as well. And then Ona, 1.5 inward Pike. A little bit to the back, still fighting to get like good enough somersault speed to make the dive, and because she's more focused on that part of her dive, she didn't focus enough on the entry part with her hands, and that's why it was a little bit of splash. And then round number 3, Elma Galassen, back dive Pike. Nice height by Elma Galassen, but when she reaches to get like in her total, like in her Pike, it's just not clean enough, not tight enough to be really impressed. But the height is good, but the Pike is a bit too hasty. That's the correct word. It's a bit too hasty. 6.5 by almost all the judges. And then from the Netherlands, Lise, same dive. Let's see if she can do a better job than Elma Galassen. Looking good, nice entry, a rib landing, a little bit leaning towards the back, so the whole of the dive is a bit too far from the board. Curious of what she's gonna score.
Ready.
Sixes to 6.5, so slightly less than Elma Calasan. But to the next dive, Maria Piña, 1.5 forward Pike.
5.5, 5.5, 4.5, 5, 6.
Bit heavy entry. The judges will duck points for that. Back dive Pike by Anne-Sophie. Nice setup, nice takeoff by Anne-Sophie.
7, 7, 7, 6.
She's also smart with waiting the way she comes out. She comes out straight immediately, but not in one swoop, but in phases. That makes her body still go, still maintain the rotation and create a great landing, a great entry. Helle Tuxe. Nice reverse dive. Pike position.
7, 6.5, 6.5, 7, 7.
You can see that she's a bit adjusting in her hurdle to keep control for the dive. And she succeeded in that. You can see her movement here showing the coach that she was still in her hurdle, trying to keep control in her hurdle. But she did a good job. Sylvia, same dive.
Can we go thrift shopping?
6, 6.5, 6.5, 7.
A little bit to the front, but still a great finish. Great technique. Nice, a nice entry. 6, 6.5. Yeah, that's a good score for Sylvia. And the scoring system is as follows: 5 judges, 5 scores. Highest and the lowest are scratched. 3 scores remain. The 3 of them get added and multiplied with a difficulty degree. And that's the score for 1 round. Here we saw the back dive Pike from Caroline Sophie. Nice one as well. 7s for her. And then Julia, also back dive Pike. Nice entry. A little bit falling back towards away from the board.
6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 7.
And the bad thing for her is that they're going to compare her dive with the one that Caroline Sophie did before this one. So that's why she gets a little bit less than Caroline Sophie. Dorotaya. Forward 1.5 somersault Pike.
6, 6, 6.5, 5.5, 6.5.
A bit in front of the point of the board, at the end of the board. So the takeoff wasn't that optimal, but she did a good job, still maintaining enough control to produce a nice entry. Reverse dive piked by Maisie, a little bit to the front, and because of that, the entry is a bit short.
6.5, 7.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. That's it.
From the Netherlands, Renske. Reverse dive piked. Has a bit of trouble with her hurdle. She's leaning towards the side. I think to the far side. You can see that here she's leaning towards her right side. You're going to probably see that here. Yeah, she's a little bit of trouble there. It causes her not to take off optimal from the board, and she has to do everything in a shorter amount of time and space, and that causes to create trouble at the end of the dive. 5.5 for her. Anna, reverse dive pike as well. A little bit short. Nice height in the dive, but sadly at the end, because she comes up short, the judges will remember that last bit the most. 5.5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7. And then Dorka, she had a nice, good round, the last one. Let's see if she can continue this. A little bit sloppy entry, and in her somersault she's a bit big. You can see the way that the splashes move is that it's moving away from the board, so that tells you that her entry was a bit over. And then Elettra, strong girl from Italy, back dive pike. Yeah, I like her style of diving. She's showing the judges and the world that she has the power in her legs, the technique to use all the height, create all the height, and use that properly as well. Too bad of the little splashes here and there with the entry, but still 6.5 is a good score for her. Closing the third round is ending the third round is Ona, back dive tucked. It's a bit too careful with the takeoff, and if you're that careful with the takeoff, it's almost impossible to not end up short. Round 4. And after 3 rounds, number 1 is Anne-Sophie with 110 points. Number 2 is Caroline Sophie with also 110 points, so just 0.40 behind. And number 3 is Elettra with 108 points. Number 4, Hella Tuxa with also 108 points. So it's a close game, close competition so far. But Elma Galase with a reverse dive pike. Her style is mid-air a bit sloppy. She doesn't touch her toes, but the entry is good, so and the judges reward her for that. And then Lisa does the same dive. Nice air time, so goes up. Mid-air looks good. Only with the entry is a bit heavy, so a bit more splash than she would have liked. Nice technique. And here you can see the splash coming up. 6, 6, 6.5. Maria Vinje. Inward dive pike.
5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 6, 7. Anne-Sophie.
5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 6, 7 for Maria Vinje. Inward dive piked. Anne-Sophie reverse dive piked. That's a good dive by Anne-Sophie. A little bit in front of the end of the board, but still have enough power and control to still, as you can see here in slow motion, when her 2 feet get on the board, she's a bit in front of it, but still she has enough power in her legs and control technique to create a clean entry. 7, 7, 6, 6.5, 7. A good score for Anne-Sophie. And then Helle took it, 1.5 inward, 1.5 somersault, pike,
6, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5.
nice deep pike. It has enough power and speed in her somersault to halfway her dive to open up her arms to show the judges that she can control the dive. And she did good. Sylvia. Inward, 1.5 somersault, pike, same dive. Aye. Has a nice takeoff, is fast, the somersault is fast as well, but sadly at the end not enough control to create a clean entry. Caroline. Reverse dive, piked. Too bad. Her hurdle was perfect because she landed just at the edge of the board, and that's where you want to land, so there's an optimal takeoff as you can see in the slow motion. The hurdle double bounce, and now with the 2 feet right on the edge, it's a great place to put your feet, especially for a reverse dive. Excuse me. But because she doesn't point her arms towards the sky, she goes a little bit to the front. Julia, also a reverse dive, piked. But with this dive, her feet are, her legs are each a little bit too active towards her arms, so she has too much rotation speed, and that causes her to go over. Dorothea, inward, 1.5 somersault, pike. She's moving too much away from the board, which causes the somersault speed it's hard to be fast, and you need speed for this dive to have a clean entry. And you can see with the splashes, it's not too clean. It's not so clean. 5 for Dorothea's. Forward, 1.5 somersault from Maisie. Ooh, has a bit of trouble with the hurdle. She's leaning towards the side, and it makes it hard to push real hard to get the speed up for the somersault. And in the slow motion, we can see that she's leaning towards her right side a little bit, and also her feet a little bit over the board, over the edge of the board, but still 6s. And then Renske, inward, 1.5 somersault, piked. Nice takeoff, somersault speed is pretty good, but she comes out a little bit too early, which causes her to come short.
5, 6, 5.5, 5, 6.
And then Anna. Inward dive, piked. Good dive, a little bit to the back, but the entry is clean, it's nice.
6.5, 6.
Dorka. Inward 1.5 somersault piked.
5, 6, 4.5, 5.5, 6.
Elettra. Reverse dive pike. Good dive by Elettra. Nice height.
6, 6, 6, 6.5, 6.
Shows great power, good technique, control is good. Ona, reverse dive tucked. Also very careful with this dive, and it causes her to come short.
4, 4.5, 4.5, 5, 4.5.
So that's
Round 5, Elma.
and then round number 5. Round number 5, Elma. And this is the last round of the compulsory dives. So the first 5 dives are not higher than 2.0 difficulty degree. And after this round, the girls can do whatever they want and how high of a difficulty they want. So 1.5 somersault backward with a half twist.
5, 6, 5.5.
A little bit close to the board, but technically she still completes the dive really good. Same dive for Lise.
5, 5.5, 5.5, 6.
She's a little bit fast with a takeoff with it to go to the twist. She should have waited a little bit longer so that the dive was perfectly segmented. So first up, then twist, and then somersault. And she was a little bit hasty to do all those combinations together. Maria Vigne.
I got fire in my pants, you are about to burn your hands.
5, 5, 4.5, 5.
Anne-Sophie. 1.5 backward, half twist. Back somersault, back 1.5 somersault, half twist. Creates a nice height for this dive, which allows you to have a lot of time and space to create a real nice entry, and also nice, close to rip landing. Not a lot of splash, but a good landing, a good entry for her. En het took ze. Nice dive for her. Then Sylvia. 1.5 backward, half twist. Nice entry for Sylvia. Maybe could have had a bit better takeoff, but still a nice dive.
6.5.
Excuse me. Caroline Sophie. Nice. 1.5 forward, 1.5 somersault, full twist. And here you can see that the dive is segmented really good. First twist, keep the body tight, in tension as well, especially the core. That makes the twisting easy. And then from the twisting, she crawls back into her somersault and perfectly executed. Nice score for her. And then Julia. Ooh, a little bit searching to where she had to dive. That's because she wanted to. Here you can see a perfect example of doing the things too hasty, too quickly. She wanted to do the somersault, twisting, and back into the somersault all together. But first it's twisting, then somersault, and then diving. This is better. Sadly enough, a heavy entry.
5.5, 6, 5.5, 6. Maisie.
Maisie, she's going to do a inward somersault, inward 1.5 somersault piked. She tries to get a nice altitude height in her takeoff, but when she really takes off, her hindsight goes towards the back, and that causes her to lose the altitude, the height in her dive, and also the speed of her somersault is reduced, and that's why she comes up short at the end. And then Renske. Forward, 1.5 somersault, full twist. Aye. A little bit sloppy in the technique. At the entry also, the legs are not that in control. And that's too bad. As you can see here, first she chooses to do the somersault and then twisting and then diving. But at the end, she loses the control of her legs, and they are not as tensed tight as they should be. Anna, backward 1.5 somersault, half twist. She lean a bit back, and also with a land with the entry, maybe a little bit twisted. Maybe you can see that in the replay. Goes up a little bit back, but when she has the entry, it's a little bit sloppy, not enough tension in her arms and in the legs, so that's why you see all the splash coming up. 5s for her. Dorka, same dive, I mean, forward, 1.5 somersault, full twist. 5.5 for her. Elettra. Back 1.5 somersault, half twist. Nicely done. A good height in the dive. Technique is good, good control. Everything is good segmented. So as you can see here, first she jumps up. When she's away from the board, half twist, and then back into her somersault. Nice control. Mona's gonna end round number 5 with a back 1.5 somersault half twist. And the entry is over.
4.5, 4.5, 5, 5, 5. Round 6. Elma.
Then round 6, and after 5 rounds, we have a current standing of the top 3. Caroline Sophie with 191, Helle Tuxen with 190, so 1 point behind, so still close, and Anne Sophie also just 3 points behind, so it's a close competition in the top 3. And also number 4, Aletra Neroni isn't far behind with 183. So the top 4 is close together, and that's good. And then we see the current number 5, Elma Galassen, with a 2.5 somersault forward pike, and as you can see, the difficulty of the dives are going up. And then Lise, instead of a 2-0, we see a 2.7 dive, 2.5 inward tucked. Wow, nice speed in her somersault. Sadly enough, she just came out a little bit too late, and that causes her to go over with the entry instead of straight on her head. Nice tuck, legs pretty good close together. 5.5, 6, 5, 5, 5.5. Decent score for Lise van Leeuwen. And then Maria Vigne, 2.5 forward pike. Aye. Did not have enough height and speed to complete this dive, and comes up really short.
2, 1, 1, 1. Sophia.
Doing a backward from Anne Sophie. It's a nice dive.
5.5.
A hard dive as well.
4.5.
5.5 from her.
Helle.
The coach is happy with this dive, so it could be that this is a pretty new dive for her, and this is one of the first times that she does it in the competition. So with 5.5 in a competition, that's a good score. Helle Tuxen, same dive. Oh, that's a good dive by Helle Tuxen. Nice entry, nice rip entry as well.
6, 6, 4.
Goes up.
6, 6.
Speed in her somersault is perfect. She knows exactly where she is. She looks, look, and come out. A nice pull to get the landing. Nice. 4 6s and 1 4.5. That judge probably saw something that the rest didn't see. Then we have Sylvia. Back 1.5 somersault with a half twist. Oh, sorry. Back 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. It's a little bit fast with a twist from the board. Maybe should have a little bit more patience, but still the end is decent. It's pretty good. Carolina. Back 2.5 somersaults tucked. Current number 1 in the competition. And I think she can. I think she resists the pressure of Helle Tuxen and Anne Sophie.
5.5.
Comes up a little bit over. with the entry. Ooh, and she had to give up her space to Helle Tuxis. She's now number 1 with 240, and Caroline had to move to place number 2. But still a close competition. Julia Preda. Back 1.5 somersault, half twist.
6, 6, 6.5, 6, 7.
Nice technique. Good entry. It's a good dive. 6, 6, 6.5, 6, 7. Dorothea. 2.5 forward, hiked.
5.5, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6.5. Maisie.
And then Maisie. Back 1.5 somersault, hiked. She's leaning a little bit too far to the back, so the whole dive goes towards the back of the pool,
4.5, 4, 4.5.
and yeah, that causes her to go over.
Renske.
And then Renske. And when you see the dive code, you also see letters. So here you see 105B, and a little bit explanation of what the letters mean. B is piked, and you got A, B, C, and D. 2.5 forward, piked by Renske.
5, 5, 5, 5.
It's a little bit uncontrolled, but she still has a reasonable entry. But as I said, A, B, C, and D. A is straight, so you keep your body straight as possible. B is piked, so your noses are on your knees and your legs are straight. And then you got C that is tucked, and you got D. D is like free position, so that's especially used when you have twist dives. And then inward 1.5 somersault, piked. I had a reasonable setup, takeoff, but at the end she just is too early with her underwater technique, and it causes her legs to go towards the water instead of straight. She was a bit too hasty with her underwater technique, so that's why she got 5, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 5. Good dive by Dorka.
4.5, 5, 5, 5.5, 5.
Elettra. Back 2.5 somersault, tucked. And you see 205, 200 series is always backward. Nice takeoff, good spin in her somersault, so that's good. She knows where she is, but she still comes out a bit too early, where what caused her to come up short at the end, and that's too bad, because the takeoff was good, powerful jump, active spinning in the somersault. Sadly enough, a little bit short at the end. 5.5, 4.5, 5, 4.5, 6. Currently number 4. Ona. Here 2.5 forward, pike.
5.5, 5.5, 6, 6, 6.
Nice deep pike.
Round 7, Elma.
And then round number 7. Elma Galassen. Current number 5 of the competition. Two and a half inward tucked. Nice dive by Elma.
For all judges, 6.5.
Nice tuck. Legs close to each other. And also against the chest. That's the perfect tuck. And then Lise. Two and a forward pike. You can see that she has a bit of trouble with her hurdle. She doesn't jump smoothly off from the board. It's a bit of a battle with the board to get in sync with the board. So that's why she doesn't have that height that she needs to finish this dive. 5, 5, 5, 4.5, 5. Yeah, that's too bad. Then Maria Vigne. One and a half somersault back in a pike position.
4, 3.5, 4.5, 4, 3.
Felt a little bit towards the back, and that caused the whole dive to go to the back. Not a good score for Maria Vigne in this round. Anne-Sophie, current number 3 in this competition, does a 2.5 backward, back 2.5 somersault with a half twist. Oh, nice. The cool thing about this dive is before the diver does the dive, you always wonder if they have the patience to wait
6, 4.5,
to do the twist first and then in the somersault, and she has that patience. That's good. Here you can see that clearly. First jump up, half twist, still a little bit hasty. Now we see that in the replay, but the judges won't see that, of course. But still, enough control to not wobble all over the place when she goes into the somersault. So good dive by her. Helle Tuxen, number 1 in the competition, does a 2.5 forward, full twist, the pike position. A good dive. It's also very heavy dive, and she did a good job.
5.5, 6, 6.5, 6.5.
A little bit in front of the edge of the board, so that causes her not to be able to use the board optimal, but still has enough power in her legs to complete this dive. And believe me, this is a hard dive. Sylvia, forward 2.5 somersault piked. As you can hear, I'm sitting near the Italian fans, so forgive me if it's a little bit too loud at home through the speakers, but it's a good dive, so they're allowed to yell for her, of course. Then Caroline Sophie, current number 2. Reverse, 2.5 somersault, tuck. This is gonna be a close call because she comes up a little bit short. I'm wondering if that's gonna be enough to hold at the second place. Goes up, still looks at the water. She knows exactly where she is, but still comes out a little bit too early, and that causes her entry to be a bit short. Still 2 6s, 5.5, 3 6s, so that's good. Julia. She's going to make a back 1.5 somersault piked. A bit careful with the takeoff, and that causes her at the end to come short.
5, 5, 5, 4, 5.5.
Dorothea, she does an inward 2.5 somersault tucked. Is smart. She knows that she doesn't have enough of time and space at the end of the dive, so she waits till the end, and when she's at the end, she just comes out in one swoop, one fast move, and that was smart.
Tracy.
Macy does a reverse 2.5 somersault tucked and isn't fast enough to land that dive on her head. This was Renske with an inward 2.5 somersault tucked.
5.5, 4.5, 5.5.
It was a decent dive, a little bit to the side. Tucked isn't that clean. It's wide instead of close to each other, the legs. Anna, forward 2.5 somersault, Pike.
6.5, 6,
6.5 for her for this dive. Dorka is gonna make a dive you don't see often in on 3 meter. A double inward double somersault tucked instead of 2.5 or 1.5. And this one is hard to control because 2 somersaults, especially in a tucked position, goes by really fast. So you really have to pay attention to where you are. So she has to look, and now she knows she has to straighten out. But she was a little bit too late, so she went over on that landing. And then Letra. A little bit to the front, but still enough height, power, speed in her somersault. Slightly over at the end, but still not a bad dive.
5.5, 5.5.
I think, but that's my opinion, that on this dive she could have got a little bit more because she's showing power, she's showing technique. 5.5 is decent, but I would give it a 6. But that's my opinion. Ona, 2.5 inward 2.5 somersault tucked. That's too bad. She had a great beginning, a good speed in her somersault, but then when she had to come out, you saw the doubt in her body, and she wasn't sure if she was there, so she came out carefully, and that causes her to come short at the end. Too bad.
Round 8, Ella.
And then after 7 rounds, Helen took 294. She's taking a bit of a lead right now. Number 2, Caroline Sophie with 285. And number 3 is Anna Sophie with 276. So still close, but you can see that Helletux is taking a lead a little bit more. Elettra Neroni is still number 4, trailing by 5, so it's still a close call. She still can get onto the podium. But now Elma Galassen, 2.5 backward, tuck. As she does this dive, she does get the height, but when she is in her somersault, her head is in her neck, so she can't really see where she is in her dive. You can see her head is way too back, and it's searching for the right moment, and she didn't find it, sadly enough. And that's why she has such low scores for this dive. And then Lisa. Ooh, had a bit trouble of finding her knees, her legs when she went into the tuck. So she was maybe a little bit distracted or focused on that bit. Let's see what happens in the slow motion. Let's see if she can grab her leg. Oh, just missed that bit part, but the focus wasn't there, not at the end, and that's why the entry wasn't good. Oh, that's too bad. Maria Vigne. Hey, a nice dive by Maria Vigne. Had nice height, was good on the hurdle, nice on the board. It was a pretty good dive for her. Anna Sophie, current number 3 in this competition. Forward 2.5 somersault piked. So a dive with a lot of risk, not the dive itself, because the dive itself is not a hard dive, but risky in the sense that the difficulty degree is just 2.4, and if you want to defend that second place, you have to have a higher difficulty degree. Because Helle Tuxen right now, she's going to do a dive that has a 2.8 compared to the last dive from Anna Sophie was just a 2.4. So that's why it was a risky dive for her to do the 2.5 forward piked. But Helle Tuxen reverse 2.5 somersault tucked. Aye, comes a little bit short. She has the height and the opportunity to create a great dive, to finish that dive perfectly, but still at the end comes out a little bit too short, and that causes her to have a short entry. Sylvia. Does a inward 2.5 somersault tucked. Aye. Has a nice small tuck, but the speed of the somersault is just not that fast enough, not as fast as it should be. And she came out a little bit too early instead of waiting for the last minute, last second, and then come out straight in one movement. 4.5 for Caroline, for Sylvia. Caroline, current number 2. Did a 2.5, did an inward 2.5 somersault. A little bit too close to the board for my taste, but wonder what the judges think of that.
Julia.
4.5, 5, 6, 6. Judges are a bit divided about that one. Julia. Reverse 1.5 somersault piked, but sadly enough she didn't have enough speed in the somersault to complete that dive. Dorothea Heiss did a 1.5 backward with a 1.5 twist.
5 and a half, 5 and a half, 5, 5 and a half, 4 and a half.
Has nice control in the twist though, so that's good.
Maisie.
Maisie. Forward 2.5 somersault. Pike. Good dive. Nice entry.
6, 6, 6 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half. Lenski.
Yeah. Was a bit low on her 2.5 somersault backward, back 2.5 somersault tuck, but chose to wait for the last moment to straighten out, and that was smart, but still causes her to go over. Anna. A little bit fast from the takeoff into the twist. And then Dorka. Nice dive. A little bit short on the entry, but still a good dive.
5 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 5.
Elettra Neroni. Forward 3.5 somersault tucked. Hey! Too bad the entry went a bit over, but because this is still 2.8, she has the opportunity to move up the board, or at least come closer to the top 3, because she was the current number 4. Let's see what this means for the current standing. Still number 4, but probably moved up closer towards the top 3. Ona Abama. Back 1.5 somersault piked. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Has a good position of the head, so she knows exactly where she is in her somersault. And now it's just a question of, not just a matter of keeping control and know how to position your body to have a great entry. Then the last round of this competition, and the current standing of this competition: number 1 still Helle Tuxer with 343. Number 2 Caroline Sophie with 331, and Anna Sophie 322, and number 4 Elettra with 309. So it's still possible for all the girls to move up, to move down, So this last round is not that you can't cruise. You still have to be on top of your game. And let's see if the top 4 can do that. Helle Toekse, Caroline Sophie, Anne Sophie, and Elettra Neroni. We saw Elma Galassen with 5-5, 6-5.5. And Lisa is gonna end her competition with a back 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twists. A little bit careful with the twisting, and in the end she might have twisted into the water instead of attacking the water and had a nice entry. Maybe we can see that back on the replay. A little bit. Yeah, you can see she came in twisting into the water instead of a straight body, and the judges have seen that as well. Maria Vigne, inward 1.5 somersault, Pike.
You ready to kick some ass?
Had to go deep into her pike because the somersault speed wasn't fast enough, and she tried to compensate it by going real deep in her pike. And she nearly succeeded, but still came up short. Anne Sophie, current number 3, has a 2.7 dive, so that's good. Oh, and she's really trying to get closer to the number 2 and 3.
6, 4.5, 66.
4 6s and 1 4.5. 4.5 could be for the splash with the entry, but still a good score. And we have to remember the score 370 for Anne Sophie. And then Helle Toekse, also ending with a 2.7 dive. Inward 2.5 somersault. Yes. And I think with that dive she fought off the attack of Anne Sophie Mohol.
6, 5.5.
She scored less with this dive than Anne Sophie, but because of the lead that she already have, she probably defended her first position successfully. But we will see at the end of the competition. And then Sylvia, current number 5. Back 2.5 somersault, tucked. Somersault is fast, but she comes out way too early, and that causes her to come up short.
4, 2, 3.5.
Also leaning to the back, the head a little bit into her neck, so she didn't exactly see where she was, and that could also add to the cause of why she's short. Caroline Sophie, current number 2, ending with a 2.5 forward pike, a difficult degree of 2.4. That's a risky dive to do at the end, especially when you have such a good position in the competition. So she really has to execute the dive really well, and hoping that it's enough to defend her second place. We're gonna see. For now, she has a second place, but we still have Elettra, and she was really close, so we'll see. And then Julia Preda. Nice inward dive, 1.5 somersault pike.
5.5, 6, 6, 6.5.
Dorothea. Reverse 1.5 somersault tucked. Double bounce hurdle. And with her entry, she couldn't hold on to her hands anymore, so that causes to create a lot of splash. You might see that in the slow motion when she lands. She's trying to hold her hand and she misses her hand, so you need to hold your hands when you have the entry to create a rib landing. Maisie Kiflogan. Inward 2.5 somersault tucked. Two and a half inward tucked. A little bit short at the end. She didn't have enough time and space to finish the dive. Nice tuck. Legs close to the chest. Close to legs also closed. So together, that's good. And then Renske Lane. Reverse. Reverse 1.5 somersault pike. A little bit over the edge of the board. That's lost. Oh, it's her birthday. Her last dive. And hoorah! It's Renske's birthday, so that's why the DJ played a birthday song for Renske. It's a nice touch. But she probably wished to have a better ending of her competition than with 3.5 fours. Anna. Same dive, except for piked, a tucked version. She didn't have enough tension in her body to keep her body straight when entering the water. Here you can see that everything is loose. It wobbles a little bit, and that causes her to go over. Dorka, same dive. This too careful. You probably saw her predecessor going way too fast, and now she thought, I'm gonna do it easy, but this is a little bit too easy. That's why she comes up short. Bit too careful. And then Aletra Neroni. She has the chance. The current number 4. She has the chance to take over place number 3, Anne-Sophie Moholm. Because this is a 2.7 dive, inward 2.5 somersault tucked. Let's see. Oi! Nice dive, great speed in the somersault. Does it through a pike movement, coming out through a pike movement. So nice tuck, and here out through a pike movement and a nice landing. Still she got like 5.5s. And not a happy face for Aletra. Probably wanted more out of this, but a 4th place for her, still good. Ona Abama ends this competition with a forward 1.5 somersault full twist.
5.5, 6, 5, 6.
That's the end of the competition. Let's see what the official score is. Number 1 with 389.75 Helle Toekse. Number 2, 379 Caroline Sophie Kup. And number 3, 370 Anne-Sophie. And number 4, Aletra with 354. And Renske from the Netherlands, number 11, and Lise van Leeuwen, number 7. So that's a good position for Lise. Too bad for the last round. I hope you guys enjoyed this competition. It was a close competition, especially the top 4 ladies. Helle Toekse, Caroline Sophie Kupka, Anne-Sophie Moholm and Aletra Nerodi. They made a good competition, enjoyable to watch. And I hope you had a great time at home as well. We have